just a very, very quick live, and it's really an ad hoc one. And I've called it, What's the Point? And you might say, well, that's a really strange title for a live stream. But I don't think it is, because one of the things I've noticed over the last, I suppose, well, since the riots anyway, I want to just go back over the last couple of weeks and think about what's actually happened over the last couple of weeks. And good afternoon. By the way, guys, in the comments, just let me know that you can hear everything, that you can see everything. Obviously, I'm streaming this live to Twitter, and I'm also going onto YouTube as well. A lot of this is really for YouTube, and I'll tell you why. The last couple of weeks, a lot of people have found really, really difficult. They've really gone, what has happened to our country? What are we going to do with this new crazy government? And how are we going to cope with whatever they throw at us? And I think we've got to look at it this way. We knew this was going to happen. And everybody was saying it's got to get bad before it gets better. And the reality is it's got bad. And I think some of the stuff we've seen is absolutely horrendous. But the question I've asked on this video is, what's the point? So that's not just the point in doing these channels, the point in having stuff on social media. What's the point in what we're doing? And is there any point in what we're doing? Now, you probably know the answer that I'm going to give you before I even say it. Yes, absolutely, there's a point. Absolutely, we've got to keep going. But one of the things that I've been doing in the last couple of weeks, since all the trouble kicked off and since these horrendous prison sentences and really a police state has been imposed on the United Kingdom, and it's probably going to get far worse before it gets better. But one of the things I've noticed, that a lot of people in the comments, particularly on YouTube, again, I don't do a lot of live streaming to Twitter, so I apologize for that. I'll maybe try and start doing more of that. But when I'm uploading videos to YouTube, I read the comments afterwards, and when I look at the comments, some people are really down about this, some people are really depressed about this. And my point is this: if you've been living in Nazi Germany in the 1930s, or in communist Russia, or any of these other totalitarian states, you would have thought this is never going to come to an end. And some of them, like China, it hasn't come to an end. They're still living under the jackboot of totalitarianism and communism. But I think the United Kingdom's different, and I think the British people are different. And I actually have great faith that the British people will stand up and they will take back control, just like we try to do in Brexit. We've got an establishment that is absolutely against us, in my opinion. We've got a judiciary, or we've seen this in plain sight in the last 2 weeks. The way the judiciary have treated normal working class Brits, some of them have done stupid things, some of them have done horrendous things, some of them have done nothing at all. And also about the riots have been bad, there's no doubt about that. But we've seen a lot worse. We've seen a lot worse in Northern Ireland. We saw a lot worse in Brixton. Remember the Broadwater Farm riots in the 1980s when a police officer was murdered? There's been a lot. The riots in 2011 were far more damaging and far more destructive than what's happened in the past couple of weeks. And that doesn't in any way give credence to the rioters. Rioting is wrong. As soon as it started, everybody in our movement, and this is the joke about the mainstream media, everybody on our movement started speaking out against them. Tommy was one of the most vocal critics of the riots. So how they can actually try and say that he incited them or instigated them, when the day after the riots in Southport, the next morning, he was up and he was saying, do not riot. We are a peaceful movement. We're not into rioting. We're not into violence. And the reality is violence of that sort is never going to achieve anything. It's never going to win. It's just going to get loads of people in prison cells. We found out about that in Northern Ireland when we had the flag protests. We found out about it in the 80s when we had drunkery and other civil disturbances right the way throughout the Troubles. All it does is feed into the violent mindset, and it creates massive problems in the communities where the riots and riotings happen. So rioting is not the answer. Does that mean that we don't understand why people are really angry about everything that's going on? I'm angry about everything that's going on, but I'm not going and picking up a brick and throwing it at the police. Now, that's the rioting. But there's a lot of other stuff that's happened that hasn't been rioting, where people have got serious prison sentences. And that, my friends, is a police state. You should not be going to prison. There's one guy in Cumbria, I'm not sure how long he got, I think it was 4 or 5 months or something like that. He had a job in the as far as I know, in the nuclear power station up there. And no doubt he's lost that job now. And he was punished for retweeting or sharing one of those memes. And we've all seen them going around. You know, it'll have a picture of some obviously Muslim men on a bus with a little white girl, and they're all looking very, very leery, and she's looking very, very frightened. We've seen those memes going around, right? That man went to prison for those memes. People have gone to prison for shouting at the police. What happened in Downing Street on the 31st, on Wednesday the 31st, was an absolute national disgrace. You had people that were genuinely grieving, that were genuinely disgusted with what had happened, genuinely were concerned about the whole chant was save our kids, about two-tier policing, about children, about the media and the powers that be lying to us and not giving us proper information. That was the vibe of that demonstration. I wasn't there, but I saw it. I actually did a live stream on it that night and covered a lot of what happened. And I took the streams from the Daily Telegraph and a few other places and tried to give a bit of commentary as I could see what was happening. It was quite obvious what was happening, that the police had massively overreacted. Well, did they overreact? I think that's what they want to do. I'm going to have a look at some of these comments here, guys, because I don't like. Thank you. Somebody just put that in there. Please like and subscribe. Yes, guys, please like and subscribe. I'm going to be going live later on today with a gentleman called Don Keith. He's an American guy. He was with us. He's been with us, I think, at every demo that we've done. Was it the St. George's Day? He's certainly been at the last two events that we've done, Parliament Square and Trafalgar Square. So me and Don are going to be on at 9:30 tonight. Don is a great guy. He's a very, very close friend of Tommy, and he is a great supporter of our movement, and he's in the States. So he's coming on to tell his story, tell why he supports what we're doing, how he thinks the comparisons between what's happening in the US and the UK play out, and his analysis of what's happened in the last few weeks. That's at 9:30 tonight, guys. So if you can, everyone that's on today, I'm not asking. I mean, there's 456 people watching this at 5:30 in the evening when most people should be getting the tea. So I do appreciate you coming on. But like and subscribe. Come back tonight at 9:30. Don is a really cool guy. He is very well connected in the States. He's very, very intelligent, and I think he's going to have a lot to say about what's happening. He's a massive Trump supporter, about what's happening in the US and what's happening here. Yes, so like and subscribe. There was somebody, I must get that on the screen, because again, thank you for reminding me, because this is why I don't have as many subscribers as I probably should have, because I keep forgetting to tell everybody to like and subscribe. So yes, it is absolutely worth it. So what is the point? So the point in what we're doing, let's just get back to basics. This is what happens when I start looking at the comments. I kind of lose my train of thought. The point in what we're doing is really and truthfully is to save the United Kingdom. That is the whole mission that we've got. And we've got a plan. And the plan's going to become more and more apparent as time goes on. And obviously, the plan's still developing. But the plan is going to be basically based around a document called the Pledge, which is a very, very detailed document, but it could be really summed up in these four ideas: freedom, equality, democracy, and sovereignty. And that's what our country needs to get back to. It needs to get back to freedom. And when we're talking about freedom, what are we talking about? We're talking about freedom of speech. We're talking about freedom of assembly, freedom of movement, freedom of conscience, freedom of thought, freedom of belief, freedom of religion, all those fundamental freedoms that have made Britain what it is. And they're massively, massively important. And they are absolutely getting especially freedom of speech, freedom to be able to go on the internet and say what you want and believe what you want, as long as you're not inciting violence, as long as you're not deliberately going out to cause people serious harm. You should be able to say what you want on the internet. And that's one of the things that I find so disgusting and repulsive. I'll be honest with you. I can't express my feelings about our current Prime Minister. To me, he's a disgrace to the office. Their government has lied about tax increases, said there weren't going to be tax increases. Straight away, the tax increases have been announced. So there's been a lot of deceit from this government already. And the way they have treated patriotic people throughout the United Kingdom. One of the reasons I'm coming on tonight, he came to Northern Ireland yesterday. and insulted the Northern Irish people. He told, imagine this, during the Troubles, or when the peace process was going on. Imagine Tony Blair coming to Northern Ireland and telling the Northern Irish people on both sides what they should think. What this lunatic doesn't realise is that there's been more people coming together from both sides of the community in Northern Ireland on this issue than there has been on anything else on both sides of the argument, I might add. So on the far left, progressive, wokerati side, we're getting all the union reps, Sinn Féin, the Alliance Party, and a few wet unionists. And on our side of the debate, we're getting working class loyalists, working class Republicans, working class nationalists, and loyalists coming together spontaneously. It's never happened before. We've a banner when we do our little protest outside the hotel on a Friday night. We've a banner. On one side there's a tricolor, on the other side there's a Union Jack, and we had a gentleman from the Loyalist community and a gentleman from the Nationalist community both holding that banner on Friday night in the middle of Bangor. That's never happened before. So when Keir Starmer comes to Northern Ireland, calls us all racist and start lecturing us about what we believe, he just needs to sling his hook and go back to Downing Street and hopefully just sit there for 5 years and not do too much more damage. So freedom's massively important, and it has been destroyed by Keir Starmer and his regime and his Stasi stormtroopers. So we've got to push back against that peacefully, legally. Everything that we do must be peaceful and must be legal. We've got to say that, because it's not going to work otherwise. Because you see what happens when it gets violent. The government just starts taking liberties and locking people up that haven't even been violent. I think that's one of the takeaways from this. There was rioting in Southport on the Tuesday night, which was totally wrong. Attacking a mosque, totally wrong. Should never have happened. That happened on Tuesday night. Downing Street, there was not a large amount of violence. There really wasn't. I watched the videos. There was a little bit of pushing and shoving. And that was because one group walked out of Parliament Square. When they came back, there was a sort of kettling operation going on. But the way the police arbitrarily arrested people, and that poor man, that 61-year-old man, the train driver, David Spring, I think his name is, that's been locked up for, I think it's 20 months or something, 18 months. His wife is ill. He's his wife's carer. And the man has been locked up for 20 months in prison and put in all the danger that comes with that. It's just disgusting. So what's happened is totally wrong. And I think we need to start a civil rights movement, as well as all the other stuff we're talking about. There is a civil rights issue here. And it seems to me, I don't like playing identity politics, but it seems to me that the white British working class are the whipping boys and the scapegoats for every ill in this country. That's what it seems to me. And I don't like playing that game, because I believe that when you cut underneath somebody's skin, we all have the same color blood. It's what you believe that matters. It's not what color your skin is. But it does seem to me that we've had all this nonsense of identity politics. We've had all this nonsense of being told we've got white privilege. Really, it's laughable. It's laughable. I know how much people struggle. And I look at the comments, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing this video. When I look at the comments on YouTube and I see people struggling, saying, Richard, you're giving me hope. And I'm thinking, my goodness, that is a responsibility. And when I ask the question, what is the point? That's the point. That's the point. The people in the comment section on YouTube who are genuinely, desperately unhappy at what's happening in the country, and we're giving them some hope that we can actually change things. Because what the governments are doing, and the successive governments from Blair onwards, they have deliberately, systematically taken our country apart and destroyed our country, destroyed its morale, destroyed its pride, destroyed its ability to make money. Heavy industry has been hived off. Trades, people were encouraged to go to university instead of being plumbers and joiners and bricklayers. Ridiculous. When I was growing up, a tradesman was the most respected man in the community. Tradesman and soldier were the most respected men in the community. I remember when I used to go off and leave and come back to the pub, you were respected. It's the same with a tradesman, a guy that had a trade. He was respected by people in the community, looked up to him because he'd done something. And a lot of them made a lot of money and got themselves in good positions. Now people are discouraged from doing that. Young people, it's very difficult. When I was married by the time I was 19, had 2 kids by the time I was 24, so, and a house, I had a mortgage, had all that by the time I was in my mid-20s. And that was the way it was back then. That was the way it was in the 80s and the early 90s. People took responsibilities on. They bought houses, but kids can't afford to do that now. So there is a huge amount of hopelessness out there. And again, that's why I'm asking that question. What is the point? Well, this is the point, that what we've got to do, it's a massive job, it's a massive undertaking, but what we've got to do is try and take back control, not just of our country. That's massively important. We need to take back control of politics. And incidentally, I've just joined UKIP again. Hopefully it's not the instance of, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, expect a different result, it's a sign of insanity. Well, I probably am insane anyway to be doing this long. But the reality is, we need a political answer, but we need a cultural answer. We need a spiritual answer. We need to rebuild British communities. And when I say that, I want Black communities, Sikh, Hindu, Indian, African, West Indian, all the different strands of what makes up British culture now to come together in that. That's what I want. And I think that's what everybody else in our movement in leadership positions want. We want that unity. We want to unite the kingdom. That doesn't take away from what I said earlier about me being very concerned about the way the white British working class have been treated. I am very concerned about that. And I think it is a civil rights issue. And I think it needs massively to be addressed. Guys, I'm going to dive into the comments here because I do forget and I go waffling on. So just bear with me. Right, Rick. Okay. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Yes. Sorry, guys. Listen, this is what I'm really bad at. Okay. I'm not one for saying smash the like and subscribe button, but now I've said it, smash the like and subscribe button. Just don't break your computer because I don't want to be getting the bill. Richard, what's going to happen to our new? Listen, we're just going to carry on. We're going to keep calm and we're going to carry on. We've got a plan. The plans are good. And we've got some problems at the minute. We've got a few different things going on. One is the persecution and the demonization of Tommy. That's a big problem because obviously he is such a key part of this movement. He is really the figurehead of the British working class, and he is massively, massively important. He is a unifying figure. He can bring people together. He can bring people out. He is actually a really good leader, and he's a really switched on guy. And if he goes to prison for a couple of years, my wife was saying this to me this morning. She says, if he goes to prison, you guys have got a big problem. And I think we have. However, I think the state's got a massive problem if they send him to prison as well. Not that and please do not misunderstand what I'm saying here. What the state have got to actually realize about what's happened in the last few weeks, Tommy Robinson has had a massive impact in damping things down and keeping people calm. They don't realize that because they're living in their little media and political echo chambers and bubbles. They're listening to what those rancid people at Hate Without Hope are saying. They're listening to what they read in The Guardian. They're listening to what probably the head of the Met and the head of there's a police force in Merseyside was saying that the riots were the EDL. That hasn't existed for 10 years. So there's lots of misinformation. There's lots of demonization of Tommy. There's been massive demonization of Tommy in the media, which has put his life in danger, which has put his family's life in danger, and really put everybody that's associated with him in a certain amount of danger as well. And I made a video about this false flag of the EDL that was used to stir up hatred among the and fear in the Muslim community, and you had Muslim gangs coming out and attacking people during the riots. And the reality about that is that should not have happened because the media should not have lied. And the media did lie when they were talking about the EDL, when they were saying Tommy was stirring hatred. He was doing exactly the opposite. He was sitting on his holiday. He could have just said, I'm on holiday. I'm not even going to comment on this. He could have just said, I'm on holiday. I'm not getting involved in this. He was on his holidays with his family, telling people to stay calm. Yes, putting out information about what was happening, but also telling people to stay calm. And for that, he's been vilified and accused of all sorts. So if Tommy goes to prison for the contempt issue that we're hearing about, then there's a problem for the movement, but there's also probably a problem for the country because he is the man that can calm things down. So that's all I'm going to say about Tommy. Everyone knows what I think of him. I don't need to keep going on about it, but he is massively important to this movement. And if my wife's realizing that it's Tommy that basically gets the numbers out and gets the people out, and she's not massively involved in the movement, she's more involved now because she's taking a lot more notice of what's happening in the past 6 months. But if she's noticing that, then I'd say it's probably a pretty true statement. So if Tommy gets taken out of the picture, we carry on, and then the movement becomes a Free Tommy movement, because that's really important. But we still do all the other stuff as well, so that becomes one facet of it. So we still push forward with this idea of the pledge, with this idea of promoting freedom, equality, democracy, and sovereignty. That's probably the easiest way of describing what we're doing. The movement will continue on. The movement must continue on, and we must build it politically, we must build it socially, we must build a community, culturally and spiritually. That's what we've got to do. We've got to rebuild what Britain was and what made Britain great. And with that, we've got to bring people with us. We've got to bring people that maybe don't agree with us into the fold, and persuade people gently that this is the way of doing it. Like Jordan Peterson said, tread lightly. We've got to tread lightly when we're talking to people. So the movement will continue on, because it has to continue on, because if it doesn't continue on, our country will descend into chaos, because this is where the state has got this so wrong. We are the people that can fix this country. We are the people that have the ear of the British working class. We are the people that care about the British working class, because we are the British working class. I've no money. I'm not sitting here in the lap of luxury. I'm sitting here in a shed doing these videos. So, we are normal, ordinary people, and we care about the country, and we care about the direction of the country, and we don't want these dangerous, malevolent players ruining our country. And I've said before who they are: the triad of evil. It's the communists, who actually I think are in power now. I think we've got a communist regime in the United Kingdom. They're behaving very much like Joseph Stalin. They're behaving very much. I think Keir Starmer is more like Enver Hoxha than he is Joseph Stalin, because Enver Hoxha was a small time Albanian dictator who was vindictive, nasty, and didn't take criticism very well. I suppose Stalin was similar as well. But let's just call Keir Starmer Enver Hoxha for now. Little communist dictator on the periphery of Europe, because that's basically what he is. But I believe we've got a communist regime in control. Then we've got the globalists. The Conservative Party were globalists, right the way from Maggie Thatcher. They were globalists. Let's make loads of money. Forget about the working class. Forget about heavy industry. Forget about the miners. One of the things I've noticed in this, what's happening in the UK to our movement is very similar to what happened to Arthur Scargill and the miners. Do you remember the demonization of Arthur Scargill in the 1980s? Now, Scargill wasn't my cup of tea. I've never been a socialist. I've never been a communist. I don't agree with his politics, but he seemed to be a man of principle, and he seemed to stand up for what he believed in. And one of the interesting things about Scargill, when you watch any of the documentaries, the historical documentaries that's been made about Arthur Scargill, everybody around him was an infiltrator. Everybody around him was informing to the state. And that's another thing we've got to be very aware of, that they will try and destroy our movement from within. And we need our antenna up to suss out exactly who's on the right side and who's on the wrong side. But that's another story. So yeah, it's very much like what happened to the miners' strike. It's a great, very good documentary. I mentioned it, I think, last night in one of my videos about the miners and the way they were treated by the state. And again, it was my wife made me aware of this. She said, have you seen this? This is exactly what they're doing to you. They're treating you guys like they treated the miners. So a lot going on in that respect. Let me get back to my train of thought. Let's get back to some of these comments. While I'm talking about the four, is it four? Freedom, equality, democracy. So yeah, four. The four tenets, I suppose, of what we do. That's great. 1,094 guys. If you're on this for the first time, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Local town. Do you know what? Yeah. Do you know something? I agree with that. I think if we're going to do that, we need to kind of have it centralized, because one of the things that I am aware of, again, we just talked about infiltration. So we probably need to do that and then get people to join that. But I think that's a really, really good idea. And again, I'd have to get someone else to do it for me because I'm banned from Facebook. One day they will build it. Probably don't feel down. I like this. Don't feel down. The king is coming. That's absolutely right. Now listen, and again, guys, one of the things when I've spoken about it quite a lot. When I went through a bit of a time of turmoil last couple of years, and eventually when I came out the other end, it was God that got me out of the other end of it. I don't think I'd have been in too good shape without God. And again, I'm not living a wonderful Christian life and never doing anything wrong. That's just not. I'm just being honest. I'm not like that. I wish I was. I wish I was better at my faith and better at doing what God wants me to do, but I'm not. But the reality is, my faith, the size of a mustard seed, as it was by the time I'd come out the other end of what I'd been through, got me through it, and the help of my family. So I think that's absolutely right. Don't feel down. The king is coming. That's what we've got to do. We've got to keep our eyes on the prize, that we're going to win this, and we're going to make our country better. And yeah, what's this one saying? Let me have a look. The rioters are people. Yeah, that's true. The rioters are people have made the choices. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Okay, Pink Rose, I get that, but tell me what the action is that you want us to take, because we are taking action, and we're going to take action. We're not going to do anything. There's not going to be any violent action. Anything violent, we have condemned. We will walk away from. We will not have anything to do. And what we always do at our march is we put ourselves between people that are getting a bit boisterous and the police. We've done that since the very beginning. We've done that since the first big FLA march. The second big FLA march in October 2017. There was myself, veterans, football lads, put ourselves between Stand Up to Racism, who were goading the lads, and there was quite a lot of black lads in that crowd with us, who got really offended by Stand Up to Racism, calling them Nazis and calling them racists. But we had to put ourselves between the line, and we've done that at almost every single march we've done ever since. And we've always self-policed, and we've done it very effectively. And we've always tried to get rid of the genuine Nazis that have showed up from time to time, get them out of our demonstrations. So, we are taking action, but it's going to be peaceful. It's going to be political, and it will take time. Like I say, I've just rejoined UKIP, and I'm going to see what happens because I did it before and it didn't work too well. But I think it's different now. I know Nick, the leader of UKIP. I believe there's going to be a lot of changes in UKIP. So let's give that a go. We need a million march. I agree 100%. Guys, do me a favor. And again, I keep getting reminded in the comments, share this channel with your friends, like and subscribe. You can also, I'll put the details are actually on my YouTube page. There's a link to a page on one of my websites where you can actually sign up with your email. And I'm not sending lots of emails out at the minute, but it means I'll be able to keep in touch with you guys as time goes on, because I am very aware that there's always a chance of the left-wing government getting their way and the communists managing to get us silenced off all these social media platforms and then throwing us all in prison. But we've got what we've got to do. We've got to build resilience in our movement. We've got to build ourselves up to an extent that no matter what happens, we can continue on. So even if it's like, running from house to house with bits of information written on a little cigarette paper saying there's going to be a march at such and such time, this is the way people have done this sort of stuff in the past. And peaceful resistance, legal resistance is absolutely fine. And we are going to have to resist this government. And we'll work out ways to do that as things progress. If they push us so far that our backs are really to the wall, we will still remain peaceful. We're never going to lose that ethos. And again, it's the ethos of Martin Luther King Jr. He preached nonviolence when he was having his civil rights movement. And I believe this is a civil rights movement for the British working class. I really do. And that's of all colours. I believe the civil rights issues for anybody that loves Britain and is working class. You are going to be treated like a piece of scum on this globalist, communist, Islamist government that we've got in power. So, okay, let's go through some more of these comments. Let's have a look. Good evening from Scotland. Good evening, Scotland. See, this is the great thing about this. You know, I've got over 1,200 people watching this now live, and from all over the country. Guys, I tell you what. No, me and Paul Thorpe have not fallen out whatsoever. No, I'm talking to Paul every day. Paul is one of those guys that it would be very difficult to fall out with Paul Thorpe. He's one of the nicest people. Now, I'm really easy to fall out with because I can be a grumpy old so-and-so. But Paul is one of the nicest guys that I have come across, and I am not going to fall out with Paul Thorpe. And hopefully he won't fall out with me either. Sorry, what we got there. Media pushing the EDL rubbish. Where's Danny Tomo? Ask me one on sport. I haven't got a clue. Police are mercenaries. I can almost taste my new farmhouse. I don't even know what that's about. I don't know what that's about. Oh, man. Evening, Richard and Patriots. Yes, thank you for that. Hey, Richard, hope you're good, bro. Well, Winston, you're looking not too bad yourself for a man of your age. It's good to see you still about. Here we go. Please hit the like, subscribe. This lad speaks from the heart and is truly genuine. Scottish veteran, I really appreciate that, brother. I really, really do. Thank you for that. Who died? I don't know who died. I haven't heard about anything about anyone dying. Another man jailed for chanting. Yeah, I mean, this is it. There was a guy, 67 years old. He's just got 20 months in prison. Now, I want you to think about that. I'm 57, right? And the thought of going to prison at 67 years old for 2 years is truly chilling. The guy that went at 60, the guy that's 60 or 61 that's just gone to prison, he cares for his wife. And he's been put in prison. There's another guy in I think, Leicester, got sent to prison for just making silly comments on Facebook. I mean, there was nothing to them. This is the thing that really has disturbed me about this. It really has disturbed me. Troy Harvey, Richard the Lionheart, God bless you, mate. God bless you, and thanks for watching the channel. 1,258 people on there, guys. Keep sharing this, and I want you to come back at 9:30. And I was going to do a 10-minute video, okay, and then I was going to say, right, come back at 9:30 to meet Don, because Don is the Don. He's a really cool guy. You'll like Don, and but there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot in the comments. So let's just keep going. And if this goes on till 8 o'clock, so be it. No, it's not. I'll do about what are we on now? I'll do maybe 45 minutes. Okay. Yeah, I think they are scared. I think they're very scared, and I really do. Do you know what? Despite the demonization, I was talking to someone last week, and this guy just didn't have a clue. I mean, he was listening to the mainstream media, and it was just like, and you can't, if someone's just listening to the mainstream media, you can't get through. But the good thing is we've still got this foothold on YouTube. I don't know how long we'll have it for. I'm going to try and set up another channel and see if I can actually get some money for doing this, because again, if I could monetize it, it would just mean I could spend more time doing it, to be brutally honest with you. But I can't do it on this channel because this channel is permanently demonetized, and I can't even remember why, to be honest with you. But scared, yeah. Vanda, do you know what? I think everybody's scared stiff for Tommy, to be honest with you. I think everybody is very, very worried, because I think they are going to try and stitch him up, but they can't, because if he hasn't done anything that will, that they can try and put him away for, they can try and stitch him up as much as they want. They can't do it. And again, Scottish veteran, thanks for that, brother. Really, really appreciate your support. Good evening, all my patriots. God bless you all. Yep, I agree with that. Yeah, I think this thing, Windy Ridge, I think this is something we need to do, but I would ask you to hold off on it, because I think we need to do it ourselves. so that they're genuine groups. Because if you do it wrong, it can, not that if you do it wrong, if it's not coming from the sort of leadership of the movement, it could be problematic. Because the best way we can do it is when we've got the pledge finally nailed down, which has been quite, it's been quite a long process to get this document exactly to a stage where it's as perfect as we can get it. Just answer that one. No, I haven't fallen out with Paul. Like I said, I talk to him every day. I haven't spoken to him today, but I spoke to him every other day of this whole trial that we're going through at the minute. I think Starmer could end up being Liz Truss. Do you know what? I don't think they will. I don't think the Labour Party will remove Starmer. Having said that, I mean, the thing is, let's get it right. I mean, the Labour Party had an 80-seat majority. What we need, guys, and this is why I've joined UKIP. You know my opinion on reform. I'm a reform skeptic. Now, if reform change and they suddenly embrace the British working class and they embrace our movement, then, I'm a forgiving guy. I'm not going to hold anything against us. The problem that I have with reform is they don't want to know us. They don't want to deal with our movement. They're quite happy for our people to vote for them, but they don't want anything to do with what we do. And excuse me. So to me, there's big questions to ask about reform. I've got a lot of problems with reform, and that's why I've joined UKIP. But I don't want to get into a whole slagging match over this, because it's not profitable. And if they change and they come round to our way of thinking, then that's perfect. Personally, well, we'll see what happens. But I've joined UKIP, and that's my decision. I've got no nails left. Please tell me the solution. Well, Martin, do you know what, mate? There really is a solution, and it's not an overnight solution, but we've got 5 years to do it. And what we need to do between now and the next 5 years, we need to take our movement from having hundreds of thousands of people, possibly millions of people supporting us, into a movement that is both political, cultural, social, community-based, that breathes life back into the country. That is a big, massive task, and it's a massive ask. But that's why we've done this document called the Pledge, because the Pledge is all about, and we haven't launched it yet, but the Pledge is all about basically telling everybody what we believe, and asking people to sign the pledge and say, yes, we believe it too. Okay. Hi, Richard. What's this one? Hi, Richard. Is there anything against the law on posting Tommy's documentary that he played on the 27th on YouTube? I had over. Wow. I honestly, I'm not a legal expert, so I honestly don't know. So I'm not. I can't give you advice one way or the other. I mean, like, so many people have posted it. It's like it's had something like, I think it's had 40 odd million views globally. So I don't think the, well, I mean, the problem is the way the state are at the minute. Yeah, I'm demonetized. That's why there's never any ads on my channels, which makes it great. It's a lot easier to watch my videos because they don't get interrupted by advertising. But I don't get any money for it. But look, I mean, I've done this for years, without getting any money. But if I could get a monetized channel, it would be helpful, because it would mean I could basically, do this in a bigger way. Labour are traitors to the British people. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, they are. I think they are. I really do. Hi, Christy. Okay, who we got here? If English Council established, they yeah. Well, things happen, don't they? You know what I mean? Future generations are doomed if they make it that far. We've got to make sure that we don't have a situation where there's Sharia law in the UK. We've got to make sure that we don't have a situation where we become a communist country. We've got to make sure that we don't have a situation where our freedoms are literally taken from us, and they are being taken from us. And this is where we do need to stand up. And like I say, it's very easy to go down the wrong road. We've got to do this on the right road. We've got to basically hang on, guys. For some reason my battery's running out. Bear with me. Show what's going on there. Where is that running out? Could be it's not plugged in. Okay, that's it. The battery's running out because the plug wasn't in. Okay. Didn't think MOB would silence 4P so easily. I'm not sure what that is. What's MOB? I don't understand that. Sorry, if you could explain that, that would be cool. Trump in, Starmer gone. That would be a happy day. I would be a very happy man if Trump got into power and Starmer was hoofed out. That would be a great day indeed. How did the Northern Irish people take? How do you think they took it, man? You know, Keir Starmer comes to Northern Ireland and manages to, you know, he'd alienated the English. The Scottish probably hate him anyway because he's English. I shouldn't generalize. Not all Scottish people hate the English, but just the ones that I knew did. Anyway, that's a bit of racial profiling. I'm only joking. No, the reality is he alienated the English. He's now, I think he did something to the Welsh as well. He said something about the Welsh as well. He called the English far right. He's called the Northern Irish racists. So, you know, is he really working for Conservative Party central office? That's what I'm wondering, because I think the problem that we've got in politics at the minute is even if there was an election tomorrow, would the Conservative Party win, or would we end up with another split vote with people voting Reform, voting Liberal Democrat, and then the Labour Party getting in again? I hope not. I mean, hopefully people are waking up with a terrible hangover. I mean, somebody said yesterday the honeymoon period's over, and somebody else quit. Well, this wasn't a honeymoon. This was a very bad one night stand where the country's woken up and gone, what have we just joined ourselves to? But yeah, okay. LCB, we're being played off. We've been played off against each other by elites of Western governments under their thumb, all carefully orchestrated. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree. But because that's their playbook doesn't mean it has to happen. You know, we can't be fatalists. We've got to do our best to basically make this work. I'm going to put this one because it's got Public Image Limited on it. Great band. One of the most underrated bands of punk, new wave, indie music probably ever. John Lydon's second incarnation when he left the Sex Pistols, absolutely superb. Yeah, I'm still friends with Paul. I've mentioned this a few times. Yeah, we're chatting every day. I think, to be honest with you, a lot of us have really looked at what's happening and gone, okay, what's the best course of action that we take as individuals? And I think that's what he's doing and that's what I'm doing. But we haven't fallen out at all. No. Talk to him nearly every day. Start local Facebook. Starmer racist against. Yeah, Starmer's racist against his own. Absolutely. We have lost our freedom, but we have to fight and get it back, don't we? We have to fight to get our freedom back. 21:30 people, please show up. Oh, yes, absolutely. 21:30. Sorry, yes, Scottish veteran, 21:30. That's me being a bit dyslexic there. 21:30. Yeah, please dive on and listen to what Don has to say. Don is a very, very interesting guy. Yeah, saw Paul's video this morning. Again, smashing it as he always does. Things Constitution is now running. Okay. One word fits the PM best, another traitor. I can't disagree with that. Traitor again. You want the same as me, Richard? Yeah, peace. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Peaceful protest. And I was encouraged when all this was going on. I was saying this. I've done a peaceful protest with some friends of mine outside a hotel that's housing illegal migrants. We've done it for a year and a half. We've been told that it's closing in 4 months. Let's hope. I believe it when I see it, but we keep going until it does close. And I believe in peaceful protest, peaceful, legal, legitimate protest. They cannot stop you doing that. They will watch you. You'll be on their watch list. They'll know you by name. But if you keep that peaceful and you make sure everybody keeps it peaceful, it's the way to go. By the way, guys, can everybody see and hear all this? Local Facebook groups. Conspiracy to commit fraud to treason, all previous governments. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Flags, proper flags, how? Yeah, this is the thing. This is the thing. The Russian people's biggest regret was about communism was doing nothing when they had the, well, you see, the problem is with the communists in Russia, there was a group called the kulaks, and they rose up against the against, I think it was Lenin, and he rounded them all up and hung them. So the opposition was crushed pretty quickly. And I think from my point of view, the reality is we've got to vote these people out. We've still got democracy. If we can get a grip of ourselves and unite and get, maybe it's, I mean, we've got Lawrence Fox, who's got the Reclaim Party, we've got UKIP, we've got some of the other smaller parties, and we've got Reform. We need to find a way of bringing everybody together. And again, people know what I think about Reform. But if we could work with them and they would work with us, we'll do that. If they will not work with us, then we'll go on our own and we'll do our own thing. I think that's as simple as that. That's how I feel about it. Again, I can't speak for anybody else. I'm only speaking for myself. But there are a lot of people involved in the background in this movement who are very, very influential and who know what they're doing. Yeah, I am. Well, I'm trying to keep myself sane as well as you guys, because believe you me, I think all of this has affected every single one of us in different ways. It's basically they only take what you let them. Exactly. I agree with that. Wendy Holland, don't let them divide us. Stand calm. It's already working. Yeah, I agree. It is working. It is working. And the problem is we all want instant gratification. We all want everything to move very, very quickly. Okay. Starmer needs sectioning. That's it. Now you're talking. I wonder could we get him on the mental health act, because he is not behaving as a rational human being. He's not behaving as a rational human being. No, I haven't fallen out with anyone. I haven't fallen out with anyone. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering that myself. I don't really know what that means. There's a point that we keep going. It's important. I'm guessing that's a good point, Suzanne. I'm guessing this is about the train driver guy. I wonder, is there a way that anybody could reach out to them and reach out to that person and try and help them? I know we've had this before when people got to prison. Sometimes their better halves don't appreciate it, because obviously they kind of blame you for them going to prison and stuff. But Starmer has a massive majority in Parliament. That's all that matters. There will be no UK as we know it in 5 years. Dave, do you know what, mate? I don't believe that. I believe he's going to do a lot of damage, but I think we can definitely push back. And look at what had happened in the Second World War. The country was bombed to oblivion, bankrupted by the war, but we still won. We still won. And the odds were different. It was a different set of circumstances. We haven't been in these circumstances before, but just because we haven't been in these circumstances doesn't mean we can't win. Susie, thanks for that. Appreciate it. Without the English Bill of Rights, there'd be no American Bill of Rights. Yeah, absolutely. That is so very true. These sentences are way over the top. There's no way that you can actually justify sending a retired train driver, a woman in the mid-50s who's caring for. I mean, think about this, right? One of the women that got sent to prison. There's a certain amount of sadism in this by these judges. I don't like these judges at all. I just hope I never actually go before one, because I'd probably get something added onto my sentence for contempt. But I think that there is contempt when it comes to some of these sentences, because that woman in her 50s, did she say something that was inappropriate? Yes. So what? Did she mean anything by it? Who knows? Probably not. But she's been banged up. I don't know how long she got. Was it 2 years? Something ridiculous. She cares for her 76-year-old husband. She's in her mid-50s. Her husband's in his 70s. She cares for that man. That amount of time in prison, the stress he'll be under and the stress she'll be under, they may never see each other again because of this. And that's how twisted and evil this is. And Starmer is responsible. And the police force that did not publish any details about this man, about his origin and his we still don't know anything about this man's motive that killed these girls, or allegedly killed these girls. We've got to say that, haven't we? We don't know anything about his motive. And again, because of these crazy contempt laws in this country, we've got to be very careful what we say, because they'll kick our doors in if we say the wrong thing. But the reality is, if the government and the police hadn't handled it so badly, and look at what happened in the build-up to these riots. I was talking about this to my wife the other day. We had the police officers getting battered by those two Muslim guys in Manchester Airport. Woman got a nose broken, and they were armed, and they could have got the weapons taken off them. And again, I saw something similar happen in America. Somebody sent me a video of a cop stopping a I don't know if it's a drunk driver or a drug driver. The guy attacked the cop. The cop shot him dead. Not even an investigation in the States. Not even being investigated. So we had that. We had the riots in Leeds where the police ran away. We had the stabbing of the soldier. We had the what else do we have? The stabbing of the soldier. Then, of course, the murder of the three children. We had Tommy getting arrested for terrorism, and all of those things destabilized the country. So all of these things were going on. We've had the mass influx of illegal migrants, and let's get it right. Some of these migrants have killed people. Some of these migrants have raped people. Some of these migrants have committed horrendous crimes that wouldn't have happened if they weren't in the country. It's as simple as that. Those rapes and those murders that have happened would not have happened if those illegal migrants were not in the country. It's as simple as that. The Ariana Grande guy, his parents came here as refugees. They were Islamists. He was brought up as an Islamist. So there's a long history of the British people being attacked. We've got the grooming gang scandal. We've got the terrorist attacks that have been happening since 2006. The murder of Lee Rigby. All of these other knife attacks have been carried out by Islamists, including Borough Market, where women had their throats slit. Exactly is what happened with those little girls. And then people that, we're called bigots for wondering, was it an Islamist attack? Well, hello, there's a little bit of form here, isn't there? That's what Islamists do. It's very easy for an Islamist to get a knife and go and start stabbing people. David Amos is another example. 3 gay guys in Reading, another example. The 70-odd-year-old man in Hartlepool killed by a fanatic that was upset about what was happening in Gaza. And we've had all these hate marches going through our cities and parading foreign flags and chanting terrorist, hate-filled slogans against our Jewish friends. And we're meant to just go, oh, that's okay. There's nothing to see here. Can we blame people being angry? Can we blame people putting things on social media that might be a bit off color? And then the sentences for people just shouting at the police, absolutely outrageous. Those people are political prisoners. It's simple as that. They are political prisoners. Let me have a listen. I've gone way over time. I was only going to do 45 minutes. We're nearly on to an hour. I'll try and quit at an hour because I know you'll want to get your dinner. Still 1,400 people watching though. Brilliant. What have we got here? So shouldn't we be standing up for the ex? Yes, we should be. Absolutely. Absolutely, we should be standing up for the ex-train driver. I believe that for sure. Recommend you get a suntan for a few weeks before you. Do you know what? Again, I'm gonna play the self-pity card here. I have not been on a holiday since I started this in the movement. I've had a couple, I just haven't been on holiday. So, it's difficult to get a suntan in Northern Ireland, and I've got to work and I've got to do this. So it doesn't really mitigate to a suntan. What I'll do, there's a light here, and let's see if I can make myself look even paler. No, I can't be bothered with it. But anyway, right. Bang on, Dave 101. Never, if the Stasi come and take you away, never plead guilty. Let it go right the way through the system. If you get remanded, let them remand you. Good luck on that one when they've got so many people in prison. Do not plead guilty. if you're not guilty. Because what I think's happened with a lot of these, people is they've kind of been pressured by their solicitors probably to pleading guilty, and they just, they've just pleaded guilty because they think they're going to get a lighter sentence, and they've been banged for 2 years. It's disgusting, to be honest with you. It's like trying to fix the Titanic. I think it probably is, but at the end of the day, if somebody had fixed the Titanic, it wouldn't have sunk, would it? We should raise a massive fund to implode. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that as well, Dave. I 100% agree with that. And I think there's about 30, 40 million people in our country agree with us. And they're terrified because of the mainstream media and the scum in government and the scum civil service and the police and all these other, I mean, some of the stuff the Home Office has been putting out to intimidate people is just unbelievable. Oh, okay, I missed that one. What is that about? Right, I see at Fiat. I don't get that. 23-year veteran. Well done, man. Well done. Well, I did 7 years back in the 80s and 90s, but I then stayed in Northern Ireland ever since. So I guess you could say I've done 40 years active service. But yeah, good lad. And again, thanks for your support, Scottish veteran. We Black Caribbean Windrush getting. Do you know? Absolutely, brother. Listen, absolutely. Do you know what? This is something that I don't know if you can personal message me. If you can get in touch with me through the site. I'm not sure if the email address is on my YouTube page, but if you get in touch with me, how can you get in touch? Actually, if you go on Twitter, probably get in touch with me, DM me, personal message me through Twitter, because it's more difficult to do it through YouTube for some reason. Get in touch with me, because one of the things that we've been talking about is, again, I've got a lot of mates that were in the military with me who were Windrush Caribbean. Their parents were, and they feel exactly like we do. Obviously, some of them are constrained by what they can say because of the way they get branded for standing with us. But I want our movement to have as many different color faces in it as we possibly can. The only reason I was mentioning the white working class is purely because I do believe that we've been put upon horrendously at the minute, but I absolutely get that as well about the Black Windrush Caribbean generation. Totally, because the thing is, it's the working class that are getting it stuck upon them, and we're the communities that are meant to soak up all these people that are coming into our country that we don't know what they're about, what they believe. Let's get it right. The Windrush Caribbean generation, that's where Scar came from. That's where all, the genuine, it wasn't multiculturalism, it was genuine integration and mixing together happened in the 80s and the 90s. And I think they were the best times in terms of racial harmony in the the 80s and 90s. And we want to see a massive amount of black people at our events, because the Black Christians will agree with exactly what we're about. The African Christians will agree what we're about. The Windrush guys will agree what we're about, because they're up against it as well. You know what I mean? So please come to the Warhawk, come to the demos and get involved, and that's what we want. Okay, a Christian was arrested for preaching the Bible. Yeah, I saw that. That's happening a lot. Crazy. Starmer does not care about technology. Rishi had a good tech vision. His buddies with Musk. Yeah, that's very good. It will get millions, and we will get millions. We're going to do it. We're going to do this. I believe we're going to do this. We're absolutely going to do this. We're going to win. Coming up to an hour here, guys. I'm going to start wrapping this up. I'm going to go through a few more comments. Okay, I'm not reading them, I'm just putting these up. I believe what's happening in the country. I can't believe what's happening in the country. I don't know what we can do about it, though. Would you even trust this lot to have a fair election if they're willing to politicize the legal system? Well, this is where we need to have such a massive majority of people involved in our movement. I'm going to stay on a bit longer to address this. We need to have that many people in our movement that no matter what they do, They cannot ignore our vote. So if you, I mean, this sounds crazy, right? But if we had a political movement, maybe not just one party, maybe several parties amalgamated together, but if we had a political movement that could galvanize 30 million voters, nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to come anywhere near that. And that's why, talk to the Windrush guy was just putting a post in there. If we got the black community involved, we got the Jewish community, the Hindus, the Sikhs, we got the white working class mobilizing, got them registered to vote. It's about mobilizing people and getting people realizing that democracy can make a difference. And then we build a political party which is built around these values of freedom, equality, democracy, and sovereignty, which are core British values, and all the other stuff. When you get when the pledge finally comes out, you'll see exactly what's involved in that. We get everybody signed up to those principles. Everybody believes in that ideology, and that ideology becomes what drives us forward and the driving force. And again, when I look at what's in it, I think it's very reasonable, and we should be able to get about 30 million people involved in it. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. But we've got a lot of work to do, and again, it's difficult because there's only a finite amount of time. And but yeah, I definitely believe we can do it. I definitely believe we can do it, and I definitely believe we can win. What do you think about raising money to help pay for human rights solicitors? Yeah, I agree. I mean, the problem is with the lawyers; they're just a money pit, aren't they? It would be great to find a way of getting maybe even legal aid for some of these guys. But the problem is, if they've pleaded guilty, even if they're innocent, once you pleaded guilty, it's over. You're going for sentencing. And again, if you're innocent of what they're accusing you of, don't plead guilty to it. Okay, what's this one? Hi, how can Keir Starmer do all what he's doing without Parliament sitting? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What's this one? It's purely the whole establishment at fault. It's obviously they have moved ISIS and their other goons here now. They sent them all around the world. Muslim countries are not wearing burqas. Yeah, that's very, very true. It's very, very true. A lot of them aren't. Take the church. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Take the church back. Totally. I mean, the Church of England isn't even calling itself a church anymore. I mean, get out of here. What is the Church of England? What's the point in the Church of England? I think the cold bit of truth is revolution is coming. I don't think it's going to be peaceful. People are too fed up. People want change now, not 5 years. Listen, I get that, but I can only counsel that revolution very rarely ends well. We've got a political system. To me, we've got to work in that political system. We've got 5 years to do this, and we need to focus on doing that in 5 years. Revolution, you never know who you're going to get at the top of the tree if you have a revolution, because normally the most sinister actors are the ones that push their way forward. Everyone must start, unite the kingdom. Yeah, again, I agree with that. Okay. Set up fundraising project, Richard. Yeah, I suppose. We can't wait 5 years, and I'm concluding talking is getting us now absolutely nowhere. Man. Shouldn't we all be voting for? The problem I've got, guys, with the reform is they don't really want anything to do with our movement. They've made that very clear, and that's just the truth. I mean, people can. I got a lot of stick for having a pop at Farage a couple of weeks ago. Maybe I went a bit too far, but the reality is that if we all just vote reform, we don't know exactly what they stand for, that is my problem. I do have and that it's not sour grapes about Farage. I have problems with what reform are really about, okay, and politically. So I think we all need to vote for parties that are not the establishment parties. But will I be voting reform? Well, I live in Northern Ireland, and my MP's an independent, and he's a great guy. So that's another thing. If you get yourselves good independents, it makes a big difference. Guys, I'm going to shoot off here because I'm doing. UKIP won't grow enough time to make change, whatever. Well, they might do, because look at how reform grew in a very, very short period of time. Never say never. Never say never. When are you and Paul going to do a live together? Well, do you know what? I'll talk to Paul later on, because the other thing is I was doing too many lives, to be honest with you, and it was affecting. I think Paul was the same. We were both doing too many lives, and I think that was affecting. it affects, well, it certainly affects my personal life. If I do too much of this, everything suffers. My work suffers, my family life suffers. So, you know, again, we are only finite human beings, but I think it would be good to do a live with Paul soon for sure. But again, I'm not gonna push it. What have we got? Rich posh talkers. The rich posh talkers. Oh no, I broke a nail. Rich posh. I don't even know what that's about. Is Downing Street sitting ducks for Stasi? All right, okay, I get it. Paranormal, yeah. Well, do you know what? I'm going to finish on this one, okay? In fact, there's another one. Keep calm and carry on. There's another one from Scottish Veteran. With people like Richard behind us, we can overturn this madness. Let's end it on that. Okay, guys, I don't know if you can make it tonight, 9:30. It's going to be better than anything that's on TV. We'll be talking some real stuff with Don, and he's a pretty cool guy, and he stood with us. He came to the Free Tommy demo on the Friday, him and his wife, and really good lad. So let's do it all again at 9:30, guys. See you soon.